A Kentucky toddler found a loaded and unsecured gun and shot himself in the stomach. The 2-year-old boy was pronounced dead at a hospital. Deputies were called to the scene shortly before 9 p.m. on Wednesday. They performed first aid until emergency medical personnel arrived and took the boy to the hospital. Tragically, he did not survive. Deputies are investigating, but it is believed that the boy shot himself after finding the pistol. Police have not released the name of the victim, and they've not said if any charges would be filed. First and foremost, full condolences to all the family and friends of the victim, a 2-year-old boy. We don't know his name. We don't know the full circumstances. It's a very short article that I've read through, but I have to say that I am disappointed that the Kentucky authorities are saying they don't know if any charges would be filed. Come on, Kentucky. A child has been shot and killed by themselves only because they had access to an unsecured gun. That's got to be a punishable offense. Whomever owned that gun, perhaps it was legally owned, perhaps it wasn't, but either way, the owner of that gun needs to face punishment. Whomever is responsible for not securing that gun, enabling a child to have access to that gun, needs to face punishment. It's cost a child its life. Perhaps the guilty party is a parent or family member. They're perhaps riddled with guilt from the mistake that they've made, and it would be a mistake. I'm not suggesting that the guilty party, the owner of the gun, should be locked away for the rest of their lives. I'm not suggesting that, but they do need to face punishment. Charges absolutely must be filed. I've got to say that I read an article about this probably once a week, give or take. This happens a lot. It's going to continue to happen. Not everyone's going to secure their guns. This isn't going to be a situation which can ever be fully stopped, fully resolved. But surely authorities have laws for a few different reasons, but one of the reasons we have laws is to encourage people to do the right thing. And in this case, securing their firearms is the right thing to do. So you have laws to ensure that happens, to encourage it to happen. If you leave a gun unsecured and an incident happens, a tragic incident happens, the owner, the person responsible, absolutely must face severe punishment to set a standard within the community, within society. It's got to be severe punishment. Again, I wouldn't say life in jail, but it's got to be severe punishment. That way, other people that are aware of the situation, that read news articles, that are in the neighborhood, they're going to think twice about how they're securing their guns. Perhaps they're going to say, you know what, I'm going to get a gun safe after all. I'm going to start using that safe after all. I can imagine that there's some kind of inconvenience to having to use a gun safe. You're going to have a gun to protect yourself, your family, your property. And if you do have an intruder in your home, you're going to want to have quick and easy access to that firearm. I would assume having a gun safe and having the gun locked and secured is going to slow down that process. So I can see why people may choose not to have their gun unsecured, but we've got to consider things maturely. If you have a child or even a mentally ill person or even a criminal or a drug addict in the home with potential access to the gun, then it must be secured. Those are the rules. And Kentucky ought to file charges once they've gone through the investigation process, once they identify who is the person responsible, who I would presume would be the owner of the gun. Perhaps multiple people could be held accountable. I'm not sure. I'm not a lawyer. But that's as much of this very short article that I'm going to go through again. Full condolences to the family and friends concerned, or the family concerned. Even if the owner of the gun is a family member, their life has been destroyed. They do need to face punishment, but at the same time, they deserve some level of empathy. Maybe I don't believe that. Some level of understanding that they're going to be riddled with guilt, no doubt. So I'm going to wrap up this article. I'll move on to the next. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. Feel free to give me some feedback. Do you like this extended approach, covering multiple articles at a time? Let me know if that's good for you. Let me know if it isn't. Would you prefer it if we did this live? I'd like to do things live, but it's very difficult to get motivated to do that because it is quite draining. So I think this is quite good, me doing this when I'm able to do it. Gonna move on to the next article.